Again, and welcome back. In the last video on Sales Skills 101, you may remember that we left off with a reference to the importance of using simple questioning and listening skills as a means for establishing a greater understanding of customer needs as part of the sales process. So this short series of videos will take a closer look at some very useful techniques to improve your questioning and listening skills. Before we start, however, I should probably point out that of all the different soft skills that you could benefit from learning, there is no doubt that this one, by far, is the most important. And when developed to a high level of competence, then it will help in so many different areas of your life, not just in the process of selling. In fact, this is the anchor for any person wishing to build their communication skills, their management and leadership skills. It can help in negotiations, problem solving, critical thinking, you name it. And whatever your life goals or challenges are, this one is really going to help. I'd like to start with a short story. Quite a few years ago now, when my eldest daughter was just 5 years of age, I remember one morning I was going through my usual wake-up routine and needed to have a shave before I left home for work. So I lathered up my face and was just about to start using my razor when my 5-year-old daughter came into the bathroom and just looked up at me and asked a very simple question. "What are you doing, Dad?" So I was in a bit of a hurry and I responded with a very quick but short answer that was, I was having a shave. "What's a shave?" she asked. I responded by explaining that a shave was what I did to remove the bristles from my face. "What are bristles?" she asked. And I responded, "Well, they're small stubbly hairs that grow on my face." "Why do they grow on your face?" she asked. "Well, they grow the same way that hairs grow on your arms and your legs and head." And after a short pause, she then asked me another question. "Well, why do you want to remove the hairs on your face and not on your head?" Well, that was slightly more difficult to explain, but I did. And as the conversation continued, every aspect of everything I was doing on this particular morning was challenged with a question from my 5-year-old daughter with either a what or a why or a how. We went through the book of shaving, from everything about shaving, cream, a razor, my shave lotion, you name it. There was a dozen questions that followed, one after the other, and each question was determined by my previous answer. And my normal 5-minute shave this particular morning lasted approximately 25 minutes. Anyway, eventually, we both made it downstairs to the breakfast table, a little later than usual, where we were greeted by my youngest daughter, who was nearly 4 at the time. And as we were a little late for our breakfast, she turned to her older sister and asked, "Why are you late for breakfast?" My eldest daughter replied, "Oh, I've just been watching Dad have a shave." Well, you've guessed it. Her response was exactly the same. "What is a shave?" And so that morning breakfast also took a little longer, as my youngest daughter asked over 100 questions in an almost identical conversation that took place earlier between the two girls, and the one that I just had with my eldest daughter. So on my way to work that morning, I couldn't help but laugh at the memory of both girls going through their routine of literally asking question after question after question to get to learn about me shaving. And it was at that point that I considered a different scenario. What if my eldest daughter that morning had simply asked one question and with no more? What made her ask so many? Well, with only one new word in her repertoire and no further context to understand what a shave was and how it was done, then I guess the conversation between her and her sister would have also been very different and a lot shorter that morning at the breakfast table. And of course, there would have been no transfer of knowledge because nothing had been learned. And so that got me thinking, why did she ask so many questions that morning? Well, the answer may well be quite obvious. She was interested in what I was doing and wanted to learn why I was doing it. And in fact, when we're young, we seem to have this endless natural curiosity to question everything we see. And that happens around us. It is, after all, one of the most efficient and natural ways that we can learn. I then thought about how I used to do the same thing when I was young. And one final thought crossed my mind that morning, which was to compare my younger inquisitive self with my current self. And it was at that point that I realised I'd lost my natural flair for learning and my inquisitiveness had all but gone. I just don't seem to ask as many questions these days. And it seems that the older we get, the more we just accept what goes on around us and no longer crave the excitement and stimulation that learning new things gives us when we're young. If you consider your present self compared to your younger inquisitive self, you may well come to the same conclusion that I have, which is that with the passage of time, some of our most natural and beneficial behaviours, such as questioning and listening, no longer seem to work as well. In the next video, we'll explore why.